Alright everyone, I thought it would be beneficial if we all had a basic understanding of the lungs. The right one is bigger and weighs more because it has 3 lobes, and the left one is smaller with 2 lobes and the cardiac notch to make room for your heart, which we'll also be talking about in this video. So when we breathe, the air travels through a series of tubes, with the first big one being the trachea, which divided into 2 primary bronchi, and each of them divide up into secondary bronchi, which divide up into tertiary bronchi, which break up into bronchioles until we eventually get to the little air sacs at the end called alveoli. Now let's have a closer look at them. Alright, now this is where the heart comes into it, as you'll see with the pulmonary veins and pulmonary arteries. Now when a vein and an artery meet, that's what's called a capillary if you're in the UK, or a capillary if you're in the US, and that's what the alveoli are wrapped in. Now let's have a closer look at what happens. Now this is when carbon dioxide will leave your blood for you to then exhale it, and oxygen will enter your blood and get carried around by your red blood cells. This is known as a gas exchange. Now let's take a closer look at the heart. It's made up of 4 chambers, a series of veins and arteries, and valves that open and shut as your heart beats. The 4 chambers are the left and right atrium, and then the left and right ventricle. So once blood has brought oxygen to your body and is returning to your heart, it will enter the right atrium through either the superior vena cava if it's coming from your upper body, or the inferior vena cava if it's coming from your lower body. And then once it's in the right atrium, it then moves through the valve to the right ventricle, where it is then pumped through to your pulmonary arteries. And so this is when it's brought to the alveoli of your lungs, and then after the gas exchange has happened and your blood has then got oxygen again, it is returned to the heart through the pulmonary veins, and it then enters into the left atrium, which then goes to the left ventricle for it to then be pumped to your aorta, which will then deliver the blood to your body, and then it repeats the process. So when we breathe in and out, we're releasing the carbon dioxide that's brought to our lungs through the pulmonary arteries, and adding oxygen to our blood to be brought back to our heart through the pulmonary veins, and that's called pulmonary circulation. And then the oxygen-rich blood will be pumped out of your heart to your body through the systemic artery, and then return to your heart once it's delivered the oxygen to your cells through the systemic vein. And thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video in particular, I highly recommend the video I did on your immune system.